They have the capability to build the size of bombs that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they have one that's about 10 times as powerful. With the flurry of missile tests that they did in 2015, 16, and 17, and with those nuclear tests combined, we believe that they have now the military capability to mount nuclear warheads, nuclear bombs, on the Scuds and Nodong missiles. And that would be sufficient to reach all of South Korea and most of Japan. I do not think they can reach the U.S. as yet. However, judging on the basis of my visits to North Korea over the years, studying North Korea over the years, and knowing something about the nuclear business, I think given enough time, the North Koreans can get there. So what are they doing during this time of stalemate, essentially 2018 and 2019? Well, they have indeed stopped nuclear testing, and they have stopped long-range missile tests. They've, let me just say, deactivated the nuclear test site. They've destroyed the tunnels. However, they're still making fissile materials, particularly highly enriched uranium, and at least up to last year, they were still making some plutonium. Even more worrisome to me would be if they really decide to go all out and do much more with tactical nuclear weapons, such as battlefield nuclear weapons. That would be a great concern. So if they go back to nuclear testing, to long-range missile testing, that would be indeed a big concern. And if they do that, and we can talk more about this later, then I would see that it moves North Korea in a very bad direction with the United States. That in 2017, when President Trump came in, he was told by President Obama at the end of Obama's term that North Korea is the biggest security concern for the United States. It's the biggest threat. But then, because of the actions of 2018, all of a sudden, for President Trump, North Korea becomes the biggest opportunity from an international relations. And now, if they go back to any of these things, restart their reactors, do the missile tests, do more nuclear tests, then they again become the biggest threat. And when they become the biggest threat, then I'm afraid we're back to the days of 2017 and the potential of nuclear use, not intentional in my opinion, but through miscalculation, misunderstanding, and misperception. So in terms of how does one break this stalemate, Bob and I actually, just before the Singapore summit, we put out a comprehensive history of North Korean nuclear program and a comprehensive plan as to what should be done. And we called it HALT, Roll Back, and Eliminate. So how do you do that? We proposed one takes phased reciprocal steps. That is, the North Koreans actually take steps to do the rollback, and the U.S. responds with reciprocal steps in terms of addressing North Korea's security and also its economic development. And then one idea that we've proposed that's sort of the most radical to get you back, to break the stalemate, is to actually say, rather than insisting on complete denuclearization of all of North Korea's nuclear programs and facilities, we actually propose to the North Koreans we work with them on converting the nuclear and missile program, military, to civilian nuclear and civilian space program. And in that process, you wind up having people there on the ground working jointly with the North Koreans and actually be able to convince them that you don't have these hostile intent. In addition, what it also does, it provides a significant potential avenue as to what to do with all of those people in the North Korea nuclear program and in the North Korea missile program. So it would be similar to what the U.S. did with the Soviet Union, and that is doing its dissolution, and then with Russia, is sort of a cooperative threat reduction, or in this case, what I would call cooperative conversion.